Welcome to Where All Things Are Possible. I'm your host, Kate Butler, and this is the show where we help you create what you desire for yourself, your wealth, your health, and your relationships. Because here we not only believe it, but we show you how to achieve it. I have a very special guest that is going to show you how it is all possible through her remarkable and inspirational journey. Today we have a very special treat having Jodie Butler join us, and she is an inspiration to the masses. Jodie is an angel on your shoulder that talks you through life's many challenges, and I can attest to this. Jodie is best known as an entrepreneur, a highly sought-after keynote speaker, wellness coach, best-selling international author, and the founder of Essence of Life Integrative Wellness Studios. In 2019, Jodie had the honor of being named Inspirational Woman of Chicago. Wow. She pours love, gratitude, inspiration, and self-confidence into others through her online coaching programs, YouTube channels, podcasts, and guided meditations. I cannot wait to dive in today. Jodie, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited and honored, and I got tears when you asked, so thank you. Happy tears. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, I am so absolutely honored to have you here, and your journey is remarkable. I'm very excited to share this with all of our guests today. So Jodie, tell us where this journey began for you, and tell us a little bit about some challenges you had in the beginning of your life and in the beginning of your journey, because I think sometimes people see what is accomplished and they don't really always understand where someone came from. Would you be open to share that journey with us?
So my dad was in the service, so I was born in California, and he was actually overseas in Vietnam, and they wouldn't let him come back. So my uncle, who was a Marine, he ended up coming in there when I was being born. And so I've always had a lot of extra family involved in my life, which for someone who doesn't have family, that's very challenging to see all of that love. Mm-hmm. We moved back here to Chicago after my dad got out of the service, and my dad realized, and he did my mom a favor. My mom didn't understand this at the time, but my dad had known my mom for so long that he loved her as a best friend, but not how a man should love his wife. And he wanted my mom to have that experience and know what that is like for the rest of her life. Hence steps in my stepdad, Doug, who still can't keep his hands off my mom. It's ridiculous, but it's beautiful, right? It's a beautiful thing. So, and when my parents did a conscious uncoupling in the 70s, that dates how old I am, it wasn't common. And my dad was very much a part of my life. My stepdad was very hands in. If one couldn't coach baseball, the other one was coaching baseball, So I'm very, very blessed with that. But then you have other kids that I didn't really live in a great neighborhood at that time. So other kids were being really, really mean and bullying, and they didn't understand how come I have all these people in my life and such a strong family bond, and when their parents got divorced, dad boogied and never got to see them again, The parents couldn't step aside their differences. So my parents decided to do some conscious uncoupling very, very young. All families would all family things, It was bad. I'm not going to lie. I was teased ridiculously. I had my face sliced. I was pushed down, the water sewers. One of the girls took the thing off and pushed me in there. The fire department had to come. And my dad saw that my light was really, really dimming, and I'm extremely extroverted, and so I would just sit in my closet and cry. And so then that's when this whole wellness journey happened. It's pretty fascinating how the things that happen in your life bring you to who you are today.
Wow. So some people never recover from this extreme bullying all through their childhood, and that's what you're describing to us. And I love what you wrote, and you wrote about this in part of your journey here in your book, Women Who Impact, which I love. And you say in here, this wasn't bullying. This wasn't just words of bullying, right? I mean, these were physical actions. Kids stepping on my hands, pushing me down, pushing me into sewers, slicing my face with a plastic knife. I mean, these are extreme things, and again, these are things that condition us and create a paradigm for us that oftentimes we can't even move forward from in our life. So I'd like to first start off with the question of, what did your parents teach you about mindset during this time in your life?
So it was really fascinating because each one had their own little take as to how I should handle the situation. And it was really, really beautiful. Each of them would pull me aside and give me their love talks. And my mom is kill them with kindness. My dad is stand up and be strong and authentic. And my stepdad was, distracting me with music and, dancing around. And he taught me air guitar and all of that, so that I would find funniness and silliness in things. So it was really just taking away from actually what is going on in the 3D world and going into internally, knowing that you're an amazing human being, that this too shall pass. And it was really beautiful. My parents got me into a lot of other activities, so then I wasn't around that. And then eventually we moved away. And, a lot of the bullying that had happened, I had found out later on, because I really dove into a lot of work. Back then, we didn't have therapy and counselors, right? So I really dove into the, Tony Robbins, Jack Canfield's, all of that, beautiful, amazing stuff, which these are people that, we really look up to. And just really went into the self-development and understanding. And I didn't feel guilty, and they were trying to make me feel in my opinion, they were trying to make me feel shameful for the beautiful life that, my family was creating for me and that I chose to see. And that's really a big part of it, is your perspective.
Absolutely.
We can look at what's wrong, or we can look at what's right in life.
You got it. Absolutely. So your parents not only offered you different things that could begin to spark your joy again, which is a big takeaway for all of us as a child or an adult. If we find ourselves on a path that we don't want to be on, what you're saying is that your parents actually gave you opportunities to see what could begin to spark your joy again, which is amazing. And then the other thing you just shared with us is this beautiful power of perspective. So before we move into this journey of you beginning to ignite your light again, Jodie, I want to ask you, what did you eventually learn from one of the main people who were bullying you during this time in your life? Because I understand from your story in Women Who Impact that actually did come full circle for you at some point.
Yeah, and even as a child and as an adult, when we sit back and we look, we never know what's going on inside of another human being. We don't know their experiences. We only see what's presented to us, correct?
Right.
So coming to find out, her parents were named the same as mine were. Like I said, her dad kind of disappeared and they didn't get to see it. So they really thought that if they got me out of the way, that my dad would basically be their dad, or both my dads, And so came later on as an adult, the apologies came. I'm sorry, I did the work, thank you, I didn't need to put you through all of that. And even as an adult, going by Abraham Hicks, it's supposed to be easy, but as you know, we're not an overnight success. We're in the grind, we're a lot of sleepless nights, and people come in and they see where we are now, and they don't see all of the things that we went through. So even as an adult, sometimes I experience the, bullying or the lashing out or, mean clubs, whatever you want to call it. And I just have to really remember and take myself back to those times and be like, okay, this too shall pass. And it's not about me. It's really about them and their projection onto me for their lack of or their insecurities.
Sure. And I read in your story that this person, from a childhood perspective, believed that if she took you out of the picture, then your dad would become her dad, right? Like in a child's mind, this was her reason, right? Like the hurt people, and she was actually believing, right, that she could step into your life in some way. And that was, it was such a beautiful full circle moment that you shared, because, you know, when we are growing up, we do have these kind of, you know, twisted paradigms of life. And then you can, you know, grow up and learn from them and grow from them, right, and own them. And you were able to offer forgiveness and come full circle with that moment. I thought that was absolutely so beautiful, because there always is a reason behind everything. And when we get to learn that later in life, it really is a beautiful healing process. So I really appreciated that story in the book. So now let's talk about your light. Jodie, you are such a bright light shining into others. And I do think it's really important to show where someone came from and how they went on a journey of discovering their light, because that is what it is for all of us, including you. So as you started to evolve from this childhood, right, from some of these hardships and challenges that you faced, how did you begin to truly step into your own light?
My parents would, like I said, give me opportunities, and one of the opportunities was my dad was way into jazzercise. Jodie Miss a jazz hands, you know, all of that. And he would bring me constantly to all these classes, and I would be on stage, you know, and I have no problem being on stage, where a lot of people are kind of an introvert with that. And so I would be up there and I would see these people, and still today in my career, every single time that I teach a class, like, I see people light up, you know, from just stepping out of their mind for, even if it's 30 minutes or an hour, and just having that physical movement that comes into them, you know, and being able to express who they are and into a safe place and feel validated and heard and seen in ways that they've never been seen before, without a judgment, you know. And I don't care where you come from, how much money you make, where your parents are, skinny, big, it doesn't matter. You are an amazing human being. And to be able to see people recognize that in themselves was like a catalyst. I was like, let's do this.
Amazing. Wow, wow, wow. We have so much more to cover with Jodie. She is going to be offering us some tips on how you can stay aligned, tips to even get started. So we are going to take a break and join us back with the fabulous Jodie Boddick. See you soon.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Welcome back to Where All Things Are Possible. I am joined today by the fabulous Jodie Boddick, who is an entrepreneur, author, and inspirational coach. She is joining us and sharing with us as we discover her inspirational journey to this remarkable place and things that you have achieved in your life, Jodie. I'm just blown away, and this is what we're about to get into in this portion of the show. So first of all, Jodie, can you actually take us through what life looks like for you today and what you have been able to accomplish? And then what we're going to do is walk everyone through exactly how you were able to do that with some really applicable steps. But tell us a little bit about what you have been able to do with your life.
Hey, sometimes when you read my bio, I was like, wow, who's that girl? I want to meet her. And I'm like, oh gosh, that's me. Like you don't even realize the things that you accomplish, because it's just when you change your perspective and you start seeing what's right, like I feel like the universe just blesses you beyond belief. So at the current moment, because there's more coming, I have 2 integrative wellness centers, which is yoga, Pilates, breathwork, meditation, private reformers, group reformers, all of your spa services, your hydrofacials, your waxings. We do hair extensions, infrared saunas. The only thing I don't have under my roof that I want is acupuncture. Other than that, it's a one-stop shop. And I did this because these are all things that I love to do and incorporate in my life, but I wanted everyone to feel like it was okay to treat yourself to these things. And it's really not a treat, it's self-care. A lot of times people think, well, it's those people who do that, or it's them who can afford it, and I wanted it all in one place so everyone just felt really comfortable, and it became a self-care, became a way of life for everyone. So I have Essence of Life, Healing Arts in Shorewood, Essence of Life, Integrative Wellness in Chicago. I have a company called the Essence Method, which is all my training programs. And then we have YouTube. We just started Patreon, because when I sit here and I have people tell me at the end of every day, thank you for creating this space, I'm like, we are missing it globally. Like, if we could just create that ripple effect and make one person feel good, and then the next person feels good. So we started a Patreon membership so that people could, clock in and, see some more things. And I started a company also, which I hope to be able to bless people with. It's eventually to get real estate. And so if people they need a place to stay for a little bit, or they need a couple days, to regroup, because they're going through something, just to let them stay in some of our facilities and do what they need to do. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's timing it all out is sometimes where it gets a little, ooh, I got to film today. Ooh, I have to do this. But it's not really even a have to. It's a I get to. I get to pour into people all day. I laugh and I cry all day long. Happy stuff, It's beautiful when you give yourself permission to always see the next possibility.
Wow, Jodie, when you give yourself permission to see the next possibility, what a beautiful takeaway for everyone today. That was a beautiful pearl of wisdom. So, Jodie, you talked about a lot of physical things with self-care, with these beautiful wellness centers that you have established. But let's dig into the actual mindset of self-care, and I know that this is something that you also teach and are an expert at. So can you walk us through, when we think of self-care, what are some mindset or internal things that we can do for ourselves that you also offer?
Yeah. Every single morning, and I'm not pushing my religious beliefs on anyone, I say God. So every single morning when I wake up, before I even move my eyes around and get puppy dog kisses and snuggles, I say, thank you, God, for the beyond blessed life that you have given me and you continue to bless me with on a daily basis. So instantly I start with gratitude. I call in more blessings, and I'm already thankful for when they show up. Then I turn into, please show me the signs so that I can see things. And then all day long, it's like, I'm looking for the sign, right? And they always show up. And then it's always physical movement. It's very easy to get laxy-daisy and physical movement is just something, that's why my studios are a front. I'm going to be honest with you. My studios are a front to get people to come in and see that they can live their best life. But if I said, hey, walk in my door, I'm going to teach you, to level up your life, they'll be like, whatever, crazy, you're woo-hoo. But if they come in and they start moving and they're physically feeling good, and then they start feeling the energy of everyone around them feeling good, and I'm just pouring into them and just, dropping little nuggets to them constantly, then it's like, oh, I get phone calls constantly of, hey, I can't see you today, but by the way, this is what I'm grateful for. These are my goals. But the most important thing is when you look in the mirror in the morning and stop picking out what is wrong. And I'm not talking about just the physical, but really when you think about yourself, what do you like about yourself? Today my hair is pretty spot on. I like it, right? Or, hey, my smile is great. Gosh, I feel so great that I get to hang out with Kate on a video call today. Like all of those beautiful things. So then it just starts creating this ripple, rolling, snowball, whatever analogy that works for you to keep it going.
Wow, this is amazing. So first of all, you mentioned the language, right? So our show is called Where All Things Are Possible. You're here, if you are here, I know that you believe that we all came from some maker, some higher power, right? And so whatever language we use around that is absolutely perfect. And so if Jodie's language is God and your language is higher power or, source energy, it's all perfect here, right? So I love that you said that, Jodie, because that's also, really what we believe here on the show as well. And so I love what you said is that, I always say your maker didn't forget to wake you up, so we can't forget to say thank you every single morning, right? So you start this day with a thank you. I think that's step one, right? I think that's step one in just appreciating where we are on the journey. And then step two is actually listing the things that you are grateful for, right? Because what we know is what we focus on grows. So if we focus on this gratitude, then we are going to receive in more of what we are already giving gratitude for. So that was a beautiful tip as well. And then the third thing that you mentioned to us, Jodie, was this power of intention. What you so beautifully articulated to us is that you call in what you would like for that day. You are actually inviting it in. And I think that is a very, very powerful tool. This is where I realized how powerful it was. My Bella came home from kindergarten and she said, Mommy, my kindergarten teacher taught me you get what you get and you don't get upset. And I was like, oh boy, okay, this is where we're gonna rub a little bit up against what other people teach you, right? And I said, well, that could be true, with something like a crayon in kindergarten, but actually you have the power to put out what you would like and invite back in that co-creation process. And you can do that with this power of intention. And that's what you're describing. Jodie, I love these tips. So would you also share with us a little bit about how you fell upon meditation? People use this as a form of prayer, really kind of connecting in and rejuvenating yourself every single day. Can you talk to us about what your practice is and why you feel like this is important for people?
Sure. Meditation is a game changer.
Yes.
So meditation truly, like you just said, is no more than prayer, but being quiet enough so that you can hear your answers. We're so busy, blah, 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 and then we don't get still enough to get our answers. I love breath work. I think breath work is phenomenal on all levels. Meditation doesn't have to just be sitting there. Meditation can be a walking meditation. It can be seated. It can be listening to music. And it can be dancing, any of those things. But it's just really allowing yourself to step out of yourself for a little bit and get quiet in your mind. How many times do you get lost in a song? And it's just like, oh, okay. And it kind of takes you on a little bit of a journey. And then later on, you're like, oh, that song reminded me of this. And meditation, I teach a breathwork meditation class. That's the only class that I physically kept on the schedule for myself. And it's a game changer. I would take up all of your time if I told you all of my thoughts around that. But it's just basically like you're connecting like a cuckoo clock, right? your audience remembers cuckoo clocks, everything has to be working in order for the cuckoo clock to come out properly, right? So we have to be connected physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And then when all of those things connect, or when there's a disconnect, there's a disarray in our life, right? So it's just really allowing yourself to reset, or to give your brain a little bit of wash, or take in some more oxygen for your body. Meditation is a game changer. I would teach it at the end of classes back in the early 2000s, before it was cool. And one time, one of my friends came in with a laptop, sat it down in front of me, and said, "Just talk." And I didn't know what she was doing. I just thought she wanted me to have a class for when she was traveling. Next thing I know, I'm on iTunes, and she made me CDs. She's like, the world needs to understand how important meditation is. And you tapped into something that's so near and dear to my heart, is these kids. If we can give these kids tools at such a young age, because they're always comparing themselves. There's so much about social media now and all of instant gratifications, to where if we can give them the tools to step into, let's just breathe for a second. It's okay. We don't need to be reactive. It doesn't have to be instant. Let's call in what we're desiring in our life. I promise you that generation is going to do so much more than any other generation has ever done.
Wow, I couldn't agree more with everything that you're saying here. Meditation is so powerful, and I also believe that, so prayer, there's a place for it, and there's a place for meditation. In my opinion, I think that prayer is where I communicate, right, with my higher power, and meditation is where I receive, like you so beautifully, showed us and demonstrated for us the difference between the both of those. And I do think that is such an important part of your work. Jodie, thank you for sharing all of that with us. Tell us, Jodie, what is up next for you, and how can people connect with you and find you?
Absolutely. So I have this amazing friend. Her name is Kate Butler. You all might know her. And I am so glad that everyone was confusing us back in 2014, 2015. People thought that I was Kate because we were both wearing jean jackets, and they kept approaching me. And so Kate and I exchanged numbers. And thank you to Kate. And you said something that I think people need to understand, because I'm writing another book. We wrote it. We're about to publish it. And who I was when I wrote the original book is not who I am now. And I had said, well, maybe I'll just pull the first book. And the greatest thing that you said to me was, somebody is in their journey exactly where you were at that point. So keep that. That's how they're going to find you, and then bring them with you on this journey to where you are now. So we have a book coming out. It's called Essence of Life by Jodie Baudak, and it's a book and a workshop. And then I'll add on, long in-person workshops and events to that once, we're completely open to be able to do that. Yeah, so I can't thank you enough for jumping on my journey. The universe, stars, God aligned us at that moment. And thank you for helping me make this a reality. I appreciate you so much.
Jodie, this has been absolutely wonderful. You have given us so many pearls of wisdom today. Giving yourself permission to be open to the possibility is your first step. Being thankful that we get to do this, right, is the first alignment step that Jodie takes each day. The second step she takes is giving gratitude for what she already has. And the third step in that is intentionally inviting in what you would like to see and receive that day. Jodie, thank you for these very applicable tips so that we can begin our journey, begin to rewrite our story, because as you know here, we not only believe it, but we truly are giving you action steps on how you can begin to achieve anything that you desire in your life. Thank you so much for joining us today on Where All Things Are Possible. Thank you, Jodie, for your wonderful remarks and story, and we will see you next time.